There comes a time in life when the voice of God speaks so clearly that to ignore it is to invite suffering. You feel the weight in your heart, the whisper in your soul, the quiet yet firm pull that tells you it is time to let them go. And yet you resist. You hold on, gripping so tightly to what once was, afraid that if you release, you will lose a part of yourself. But hear this: what is truly yours by divine right can never be taken away, and what is not meant for you will only bring delay, stagnation, and pain. God does not take from you to punish you, He removes to align you. There are relationships that have served their purpose, seasons that have completed their course, and people who were never meant to stay. But the human heart clings, not realizing that what it grasps onto so desperately is the very thing blocking its blessing. You must trust that what leaves is making room for something greater, something divinely appointed, something that will elevate you beyond your current comprehension. It is not your duty to beg for someone to see your worth. It is not your calling to convince someone to stay. When God shows you who people are, believe Him the first time. Do not rewrite the script. Do not try to turn a goodbye into a pause. When the signs are clear, when the actions do not align with love, when the energy shifts, trust that the chapter is ending for a reason. Your resistance does not change the will of God. It only prolongs the lesson. Many fear that in letting go, they will be left with nothing, but that is an illusion. The void that follows is not emptiness. It is sacred space. It is where healing happens, where revelation occurs, where new blessings are planted. If you hold on to a door that God has closed, you miss the one He is waiting to open. You cannot walk into your divine future while dragging the weight of your past. Release with grace. Walk away with faith. Letting go is not loss, it is alignment. The pain of separation is temporary, but the peace of obedience is eternal. You may not understand it now, but there will come a day when you look back and see the divine orchestration. You will see how every removal was protection, how every ending was a beginning, how every goodbye was a whispered blessing. Let them go, move forward. God has something far greater ahead. There is a moment when the soul recognizes what the heart refuses to accept. That moment when God whispers, or sometimes even shouts, that it is time to walk away. Yet the human spirit, in its longing for familiarity, resists. It rationalizes, it hopes, it prays for things to be different, for people to change, for the situation to align with our desires. But God, in His infinite wisdom, sees beyond what we can see. He knows what is weighing us down, what is hindering our purpose, what is keeping us from the life He has designed for us. And so He begins to strip away what no longer serves us, what no longer feeds our spirit, what no longer aligns with our destiny. At first it feels like loss. It feels like punishment. The void left behind seems unbearable, like a wound that refuses to heal. But what if this pain is not a curse, but a blessing in disguise? What if this separation is not rejection, but redirection? What if God is preparing you for something greater, something that requires you to be free, unburdened, and fully aligned with His will? The discomfort you feel is not meant to break you, but to break you open, to release the chains of attachment, to shatter the illusions that have kept you bound, to awaken you to the divine truth that you are meant for more. You must understand that not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people come as lessons, some as tests, some as stepping stones to guide you to the next level. And when their time is up, holding on to them will only cause suffering. The mistake many make is confusing longevity with destiny. Just because someone has been in your life for years does not mean they are meant to be in your future. Some relationships are for a season, some friendships are for a chapter, and some connections are meant to dissolve so that you can step fully into who you are meant to be. God has seen the private battles you have fought. He has heard the silent cries, the prayers whispered in the dark, the moments when your heart ached for love that was not returned, for loyalty that was betrayed, for understanding that never came. He knows the weight you have carried, the exhaustion of trying to hold together what was already falling apart. And so he steps in, not because he wants you to suffer, but because he wants you to heal. He wants you to stop chasing what is running away, to stop watering what is already dead, to stop clinging to what no longer belongs to you. Letting go is not easy. The mind will replay memories, will remind you of the good times, will whisper fears of loneliness, of regret, of the unknown. But you must silence those voices and tune into a greater truth. Anything that requires you to beg, to shrink, to lose yourself in order to keep it, is not from God. Anything that drains your spirit, that disrupts your peace, that pulls you away from your purpose, is not meant for you. God does not call you into suffering. He calls you into peace, into joy, into fulfillment. And sometimes the only way to receive those blessings is to release the things that are blocking them. The human heart, in its desire for love and belonging, often settles. It holds on to toxic relationships out of fear, fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of not finding better. But God never removes without replacing. He never asks you to let go without having something greater in store. The problem is that many refuse to trust the process. They hold on to the old because they do not yet see the new. But faith is trusting in what is unseen. Faith is walking away even when you do not know what comes next. Faith is believing that if God is telling you to release, it is because He has already prepared something better for you. The enemy will try to convince you otherwise. He will use your emotions against you, will fill your mind with doubts, will make you question your worth, your decisions, your future. But you must stand firm. You must remind yourself that you are not being abandoned, you are being elevated. That what is leaving your life is not a loss, but a necessary shift. That every ending is a divine setup for something greater. It is not your responsibility to make someone see your value. It is not your job to prove your worth to those who do not recognize it. You are a child of God, and anyone who cannot see the light within you is not meant to walk this journey with you. Stop fighting for a place in the lives of those who do not fight for you. Stop giving your energy to those who only take and never pour back into you. Stop seeking love in places where love does not truly exist. You deserve to be surrounded by those who uplift you, who cherish you, who see the beauty in you without you having to constantly prove it. And if someone cannot do that, then they are not your people. If someone does not appreciate your presence, then they should not have access to you. If someone repeatedly shows you through their actions that they do not value you, then you must believe them and walk away. God is not just calling you to let them go. He is calling you to heal, to rise, to step into a new level of faith, to trust that what He has for you is far greater than anything you are leaving behind, to believe that the love, the joy, the peace you seek is already on its way to you. But it cannot reach you if you are still holding on to what is not meant for you. The growth requires separation, transformation requires release. Evolution requires shedding the old so that the new can emerge. And this process, though painful, is necessary. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and understand why things had to happen the way they did. You will see how every closed door led you to something better, how every goodbye was a redirection towards something greater, how every loss was actually a gain. But you do not have to wait for hindsight to trust God's plan. You can choose to trust it now. You can choose to surrender. You can choose to release with grace, to walk away with faith, to step into your future with confidence, knowing that you are divinely guided, divinely protected, divinely loved. God is telling you to let them go, not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to heal you. Not because He wants to take from you, but because He wants to give to you. Not because He is punishing you, but because He is preparing you for something far beyond what you can imagine. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are being led. Trust the process. Let go. Move forward. Something far greater is waiting for you. You are standing at the edge of something new, something unseen, something greater than what you have known. Yet your heart hesitates. It clings to what is familiar, even when that familiarity has brought nothing but pain. There is a divine whisper within you, a knowing so deep that it cannot be ignored. It is God's voice, guiding you, urging you, reminding you that what you are holding on to is no longer meant for you. And yet you resist. You bargain with God, asking Him to change the situation, to fix what is broken, to make them stay. But God does not operate through force. He operates through alignment. And when something is no longer in alignment with your purpose, He will remove it, not to hurt you, but to heal you. You are not meant to live in a state of attachment to what drains you. You are not created to suffer under the weight of relationships that no longer serve your highest good. Yet so often people stay where they do not belong out of fear, out of obligation, out of the false belief that letting go means failure. But what if letting go is not an ending, but a beginning? What if it is the very act that sets you free, that allows you to finally breathe, that opens the doors to blessings you have not yet imagined? What if this separation is not rejection, but protection? God does not ask you to release without purpose. He does not ask you to walk away without having already prepared a new path for you. But the challenge is trusting what you cannot yet see, believing in what has not yet manifested, knowing that the very thing you are afraid to let go of is what is standing between you and your next level. You cannot receive what is meant for you if your hands are still full of what no longer belongs to you. You cannot step into your future while dragging the past behind you. The weight is too heavy. The burden is not yours to carry. And yet you hold on. Letting go does not mean you did not love them. It does not mean you did not try. It does not mean you failed. It means you are choosing yourself. It means you are honoring the voice within you that says, I deserve more. It means you are trusting God enough to follow where He leads, even when the path is unclear. And though your heart may break, though tears may fall, though the nights may be long and lonely, there will come a day when you understand why things had to happen this way. There will come a day when you look back and see the divine orchestration, how every loss was actually a gain, how every closed door was leading you to something better, how every goodbye was making space for the right people to enter your life. You do not need to force what is meant to be. Love, respect, and true connection do not require begging, chasing, or compromising your worth. If someone cannot see the value of your presence, they do not deserve a place in your future. If someone repeatedly chooses to hurt you, to disregard you, to make you feel unworthy, that is your sign. That is your answer. And no matter how much you love them, no matter how much history you share, you must love yourself enough to walk away. People will show you who they are through their actions. Believe them. Do not rewrite the story. Do not create excuses for behavior that does not align with love. If they wanted to stay, they would. If they truly valued you, they would show it. If they were meant to be a part of your future, God would not be asking you to release them. Holding onto something God is trying to remove will only cause you more pain. It will delay your blessings. It will block what is truly meant for you. And the longer you resist, the harder the lesson will become. You have already seen the signs. The energy has shifted. The connection is not the same. The conversations are forced. The love that once felt effortless now feels like a battle. You keep trying, keep hoping, keep praying that things will go back to the way they were. But they won't. Because God is calling you higher. He is calling you out of spaces that no longer nurture your soul. He is calling you into a season of healing, of renewal, of divine transformation. And in order to receive it, you must be willing to let go of everything that is no longer serving you. The pain of release is temporary. The peace that follows is eternal. But you must be brave enough to trust that what is ahead is greater than what is behind. You must believe that God's plan for you is far beyond what you can imagine. He sees the road ahead. He knows what is waiting for you, and He is asking you to trust Him, even when it feels like you are walking into the unknown. What if the love you have been praying for is waiting just beyond this chapter? What if the peace you have been longing for is on the other side of this release? What if the very thing you are afraid to lose is what is keeping you from your breakthrough? God does not take without purpose. He does not remove without replacing. But He needs you to surrender. He needs you to trust that His plan is greater than your attachment. You are being set free. You are being prepared for something greater. The people who could not see your worth, the ones who took your love for granted, the ones who could not appreciate the light within you, they were never meant to stay. They were a part of your journey, but not your destination. And though it hurts, though it feels like you are losing something precious, know that you are actually gaining everything. You are gaining yourself, your peace, your purpose, your divine alignment. The love you truly deserve will not require you to suffer. The relationships meant for you will not bring confusion, inconsistency, or pain. God is not the author of chaos. He is the author of clarity. And when something is truly meant for you, it will flow, it will be effortless, it will feel like home. So if you are struggling, if you are in turmoil, if your heart is heavy with uncertainty, that is your answer. That is your sign that you are holding on to something that is not meant for you. It is time to let go, to release the fear, to trust in what is unseen, to walk forward with faith, knowing that you are being divinely guided. You may not see it now, but one day you will thank God for removing what was never meant to stay. One day you will understand that every tear, every goodbye, every loss was actually a blessing in disguise. One day you will look back and realize that God was not taking from you, He was saving you. You are being called to something greater. You are being prepared for something divine. Do not let fear keep you from your destiny. Let go. Move forward. Trust the process. God has already gone before you. The best is yet to come. There comes a moment when you must decide. Do you stay in a place where you are merely tolerated, or do you walk forward into the life where you are fully embraced? This is the moment of surrender, the moment where God is speaking directly to your heart, asking you to trust Him, to believe in what He has prepared for you, even though you cannot see it yet. And yet fear grips you. The unknown seems vast, uncharted, unfamiliar. You want to hold on, to cling to what you have known, to keep fighting for something that God has already declared finished. But no matter how tightly you grip, no matter how much you try to hold the pieces together, you feel it slipping away. And deep down you know you were never meant to stay here. God never removes without reason. He never asks you to let go without already having something greater prepared. But the human heart resists change. It fights against discomfort. It wants certainty, assurance, a clear sign that what is ahead is better than what is behind. But faith does not work that way. Faith asks you to step out while you are still afraid. Faith asks you to trust in the unseen. Faith asks you to believe that the same God who created you has not forgotten you, has not abandoned you, and will never lead you into emptiness. You are being redirected, repositioned, renewed. What once felt like rejection is actually divine protection. What seemed like loss is actually gain. You are being emptied of what is no longer serving you so that you may be filled with what is divinely meant for you. But until you let go, until you surrender, you cannot receive it. You cannot grasp the future while your hands are still full of the past. You cannot embrace what is meant for you while you are still mourning what was never truly yours. You saw the signs, you felt the shift, you knew long before this moment that something was not right, the energy was different, the words stopped matching the actions. The love that once felt like a sanctuary became something that brought more pain than peace. And still you held on, hoping, praying, waiting for things to change. But they did not. because God was calling you out, because He was showing you that you deserve more, because He was showing you that you deserve more, because He was preparing you for something far greater than you ever imagined. People often stay in places where their soul no longer belongs because they fear being alone. They fear the emptiness, the silence, the uncertainty. But what if the solitude is not punishment, but preparation? What if the quiet is not loneliness, but a sacred space where God is trying to speak to you, trying to heal you, trying to realign you with your true purpose? What if this is not the end, but the beginning of something so divine, so beautiful, so life-changing, that you will one day look back and weep with gratitude that you had the courage to walk away? Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean that the love you had was not real, that the moments you shared were not meaningful, that the connection was not significant. It means you are releasing the attachment to something that is no longer aligned with your destiny. It means you are choosing yourself. It means you are saying, God, I trust you. Even though this hurts, even though I don't understand, even though my heart is breaking, I trust that what you have for me is greater than what I am leaving behind. There is a version of you waiting on the other side of this, a version of you that is whole, a version of you that is healed, a version of you that no longer settles for less than what God has intended. But you must walk through the fire to become that version. You must be willing to feel the grief, to sit with the discomfort, to trust that even in the pain God is working. And though it may not make sense now, though the tears may feel endless, though the nights may seem unbearably long, there will come a day when you understand. There will come a day when you look back and see how every closed door, every goodbye, every painful ending was necessary for your transformation. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. You are not being abandoned. You are being set free. But the choice is yours. Will you stay where you no longer belong, or will you trust God enough to move forward? Will you keep begging for something that is not meant for you, or will you surrender to the divine plan that has already been written for your life? The world will tell you that holding on is strength, that fighting for something is what makes you worthy. But true strength is knowing when to walk away. True faith is trusting even when you cannot see. True courage is saying, God, I release this. I surrender this. I will not chase, I will not beg, I will not hold on to something you have already removed from my life. And in that surrender, something shifts. The weight lifts, the anxiety fades, the pain, though still present, no longer controls you. Because in that moment, you remember who you are. You remember whose you are. You remember that you were never meant to suffer for love, never meant to chase what is meant to stay, never meant to live in a state of fear, of uncertainty, of desperation. What God has for you is already yours. The love that is meant for you will not require you to lose yourself. The purpose that is meant for you will not bring confusion. The blessings that are meant for you will not feel like a battle. When something is divinely aligned, it flows. It does not force. It does not require you to beg, to chase, to break yourself into pieces just to make it fit. So this is your moment to choose faith over fear, your moment to let go of what no longer serves you, your moment to step into the fullness of what God has been preparing for you all along. It may not feel easy, it may not make sense, but one day, when you are standing in the middle of the life you once prayed for, you will understand why they had to happen. You will understand why God whispered to your soul, let them go. I have something greater for you. And when that day comes, you will not mourn what was lost. You will rejoice in what was found, because you will finally see that every ending was really a beginning, that every closed door was leading you somewhere divine, that every painful goodbye was God's way of setting you free. There is a version of you that exists beyond this heartbreak, beyond this moment of pain, beyond the attachment that has kept you bound. You may not see it yet, but it is there, waiting for you to embrace it, to step into it, to claim it as your own. But first, you must let go. You must release what is no longer serving your highest good. You must trust that God is not taking something away from you to harm you, but to heal you. So often we resist the very things that are meant to free us. We hold on because we are afraid to start over. We cling to relationships that drain us, to situations that break us, to cycles that leave us empty. And we wonder why we feel lost, why we feel unfulfilled, why we feel like no matter how much we try, nothing changes. The truth is, nothing changes because we refuse to change. We refuse to let go. We refuse to trust the process of divine alignment. There is something powerful about surrender. When you stop forcing, stop chasing, stop trying to control what was never yours to control, you make space for miracles. You make space for the love that is meant to find you. You make space for the peace that is meant to fill you. You make space for the purpose that is calling your name. But when your hands are clenched, when your heart is holding on to what is already gone, you block the very blessings that are trying to reach you. God knows what is best for you. He sees beyond what you can see. You may be looking at this moment through the lens of loss, but God sees the victory that is unfolding. You may think you are losing something, but in reality, you are gaining clarity. You are gaining freedom. You are gaining the opportunity to realign with your destiny. And what a gift that is. To be redirected, to be positioned, to be prepared for something greater. This pain is temporary. This heartbreak will not define you. This season of letting go is not the end of your story. It is merely the chapter where you learn what true faith looks like. Faith is not believing when everything is going well. Faith is trusting when everything is falling apart. Faith is standing in the middle of uncertainty and declaring that you are still blessed, still favored, still chosen by God. You were never meant to live in struggle. You were never meant to force love. You were never meant to beg for attention, for validation, for someone to see your worth. You are already worthy. You are already loved. You are already whole. And the moment you recognize that, the moment you stop seeking outside of yourself for something that only God can give, you will feel the weight lift. You will feel the peace enter. You will feel the shift in your spirit that tells you, this is where you are meant to be. Not everyone is meant to stay. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next chapter, and that is okay. It does not mean they were not important. It does not mean they were not a part of your journey. It simply means their role in your story has ended. And just like a book, you cannot keep rereading the same chapter and expect to move forward. You must turn the page. You must trust that the story ahead is worth reading, worth experiencing, worth embracing with an open heart. You may feel like you are walking away empty-handed, but you are not. You are walking away with wisdom. You are walking away with strength. You are walking away with the lesson that not everything is meant to be held on to. And in that lesson, there is power. Power to create a new life. Power to love yourself more deeply. Power to walk with confidence. Knowing that what is meant for you will never require you to betray yourself in order to keep it. It is time to release. It is time to breathe again. It is time to believe that the best is not behind you but ahead of you. The past served its purpose. It taught you what you needed to learn. But now it is time to move forward with grace, with trust, with the unwavering faith that you are being guided to something far greater than anything you are leaving behind. One day, you will look back at this moment and smile. You will see how every loss was actually a gain. You will understand why certain doors had to close. You will realize that what you thought was a setback was actually a setup for something divine. And in that moment, you will not mourn what you lost. You will celebrate what you found. Yourself, your strength, your unshakable faith, and most importantly, the life God always intended for you, and the life God always intended for you. There is a divine order to all things, and what seems like an ending is merely a transition. You have spent so much energy trying to hold on, believing that if you just do more, give more, sacrifice more, things will change. But deep in your heart, you know the truth. You know that God has been whispering to you, nudging you, sending you signs that it is time to move on. Yet fear has kept you in place. Fear of the unknown. Fear of being alone. Fear of walking away from what feels familiar. But familiarity does not always mean destiny. Just because something has been a part of your life does not mean it was meant to last forever. You were created for more than struggle. You were created for more than begging for love, for attention, for someone to choose you. You were chosen before the foundation of the world. You were set apart for something greater. Yet you have been settling for less because you do not fully believe in your worth. God is telling you now, let go, not because you are being punished, but because you are being prepared for something better. Growth is painful, change is uncomfortable, but stagnation is far worse. How many nights have you cried out, asking for a sign? How many times have you prayed for clarity, for strength, for direction? And yet when the answer comes, you resist it. You rationalize staying. You justify the suffering. But God does not call you to remain in places where your spirit is suffocated. He calls you to life, to abundance, to freedom. And that freedom begins with a single act of faith, the courage to walk away. Everything in your life is unfolding exactly as it should. You may not understand it now. It may not make sense in this moment. But trust that there is a greater picture, a higher purpose. The things you thought you needed, the people you thought would be with you forever, if they are being removed, it is because they have fulfilled their role in your story. To try to hold on is to resist divine alignment. And when you resist, you prolong your suffering. The moment you surrender, the moment you say, God, I trust you, a weight will lift. The burden you have carried will begin to fade. The sleepless nights, the racing thoughts, the anxiety of trying to make something work that was never meant to, those will be replaced with a peace that surpasses all understanding. That is what happens when you stop trying to force what is already finished. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is stepping into alignment. It is an act of faith. It is declaring that you trust God's plan more than your own desires. It is choosing yourself, your peace, your future over the comfort of what is familiar but no longer fulfilling. You have outgrown this place, you have outgrown this version of yourself, and now you must make the decision to rise, to step into the unknown, to embrace the discomfort, to trust that even though you cannot see the whole path, the next step will always be revealed. The same God who brought you this far will not abandon you now. The same God who opened doors in the past will open new ones. But first you must close the ones that are no longer meant for you. One day you will look back and realize that this moment, this painful, difficult moment, was the beginning of everything you prayed for. The breakthrough you've been seeking is on the other side of your obedience. The life you have been longing for begins the moment you choose to let go. And when you finally step into that new reality, you will not regret the things you left behind. You will only wonder why you waited so long. You may feel the weight of this moment pressing against your soul, the pain of separation lingering in your heart, the uncertainty of the future causing fear to rise within you. But what if you knew, deep down, that this very moment of release is what will lead you to the greatest transformation of your life? What if you understood that letting go is not an act of weakness, but an act of ultimate faith? What if you realized that everything that is leading you is only making space for something far greater? The human heart clings to what is familiar, even when familiarity brings suffering. You have prayed for change, but are you willing to accept the way change comes? You have asked for elevation, but are you prepared to leave behind what weighs you down? You have sought peace, but are you ready to walk away from what disturbs your spirit? Too often the answers to our prayers come disguised as endings, as disappointments, as separations that feel unbearable. But what if this is not the end at all? What if this is the divine redirection you have been waiting for. Every great transformation begins with release. A seed does not become a tree without first breaking open. A caterpillar does not become a butterfly without leaving behind its cocoon. And you will not become who you are meant to be without shedding the past that has kept you bound. You cannot hold on to what is comfortable and step into your destiny at the same time. One must be sacrificed for the other. And God is asking you now, which will you choose? Will you choose the known pain of the past or the unknown promise of your future? You have stayed in this place for too long. You have tried to make it work. You have given your all. But now God is calling you higher. And if you ignore the call, if you refuse to move, if you keep holding on, you will only delay the blessings that are waiting for you. The longer you resist, the more painful the lesson becomes. The longer you hold on, the more you drain your own spirit. But the moment you decide to trust, to surrender, to finally let go, you will feel the shift. You will feel the weight lift. You will realize that what you thought you needed was only keeping you small. Your life was never meant to be lived in struggle. Your heart was never meant to carry this much sorrow. Your spirit was never meant to shrink in order to fit into places where you were never truly seen. The moment you accept that, the moment you stop settling, you will understand that you are not losing, you are being set free. Free from expectations that were never yours to meet. Free from relationships that drained you instead of filled you. Free from cycles of disappointment that kept you trapped in the past. God has something better for you. He has joy for you. He has love for you. He has a life so abundant, so fulfilling, so peaceful that the moment you step into it, you will look back at this moment of letting go and realize it was the greatest gift you ever received. But you must trust. You must take the step. You must believe that what is leaving your life is not a loss, but a blessing in disguise. You were never meant to beg for love. You were never meant to prove your worth to people who refuse to see it. You were never meant to keep holding on to something that is already gone. When God closes a door, it is not your job to stand there knocking. When He removes something from your life, it is not your place to chase after it. What is meant for you will not require force. What is meant for you will not require you to break yourself in order to keep it. You may not understand it now, but one day you will. One day you will wake up and the pain will no longer be there. One day you will realize that everything you thought you lost was replaced with something better. One day you will see that the heartbreak was actually healing. The rejection was actually protection. The loss was actually gain. And in that moment you will be grateful that you had the courage to let go. You are stepping into a new season, a season of restoration, a season of clarity, a season where everything that is meant for you will come effortlessly, without force, without struggle, without you having to fight for it. Because that is how God works. He does not bring confusion. He does not bring pain without purpose. He does not take something away unless He is preparing you for something greater. Trust that greater is coming. Trust that peace is on the other side of this pain. Trust that one day you will look back at this very moment and realize that this was the day you reclaimed your power. This was the day you chose yourself. This was the day you finally let go and made space for the life God always had waiting for you. One day you will look back at this moment and realize it was the turning point. The moment you chose faith over fear, peace over pain, and destiny over familiarity. What felt like loss was actually grace. What seemed like an ending was the beginning of something greater. You were never abandoned. You were being guided. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. Trust that what is ahead is far greater than what you are leaving behind. Walk forward with courage, knowing that when you let go, you are not falling. You are finally rising.